The wisdom of trauma, the wisdom that's behind your trauma. This is quite a confronting part of the journey, part of this process, part of being human. It appears to be that navigating through some form of trauma seems to be one of the hottest, biggest flavors that we go through, that we have to go through. There's so many of the spiritual teachers that I've tuned into that talk about this almost necessity of suffering. And suffering and trauma essentially pretty much go hand in hand. But I want to dive into trauma. I want to dive into that wisdom, that voice that comes with trauma. And very much reflecting on my own journey and the things that I've had to process through, the things that my nervous system has gone into. When we go through trauma and how our nervous system gets hit, shaped and molded, we go into that shut down, freeze response, but not in just the moment when it's supposed to be utilized. It becomes our natural state. And it's with the qualities of that shut down, dorsal vagal shutdown, where we have this space which seems to precipitate profound transformation. Transformation where everything within us changes forever. We have a completely new renewing and transformation of our mind, our being, our DNA, our cellular makeup just seems to shift, and it almost feels like it needs this real, like, dramatic push. It needs the conditions of really profound disconnectedness, emotional numbness. It needs that volatility of anger. It needs that explosiveness. And when we're in that shutdown phase, and when we experience anger, both of those work very well together. We have within us these really opposing forces, shut down, and then we have that explosive reactivity side of us. We have all of this going on in this inner cauldron of energy that's happening within us. But it appears to be that these are the key ingredients to precipitate profound change. Because when we're in shutdown, we're experiencing that a deep lack of purpose, a deep lack of disconnection, a deep sense of emotional numbness. There's a stillness that pervades, but doesn't have the quality of aliveness that comes with the reflection of that, the opposite of that, when it comes to when we experience peace in a more regulated nervous system state. We have this deep sense of disconnection. And as well as that, one of the other qualities within our nervous system, we experience reactivity, and we experience the emotion of anger is in there as well. When we're coming out of that shutdown phase, which is spurred on by our trauma and the events of our life. And it's not always just one singular event. We've got this build-up within our system over time, and it's due to that build-up of system in our system over time, which creates this permanent shutdown state. When we don't fulfill the safety loop of regulation, where we have a threat, we get nurtured, regulated, and then we come back to safety. So we have threat, we regulate ourselves, come back to safety. If we don't fulfill that loop, we can consider that as some form of trauma. We build that up within our system over time. And it's through that we then develop this permanent shutdown phase of our nervous system. But once we start to heal ourselves and we start to journey that shutdown, nervous system shutdown phase, we then start to bring in, and when we increase that energy within us, we'll notice that we'll actually start to feel more volatility. There'll be the emotion of anger being that one of the clearest emotions that will come to us once we're coming out of that shutdown phase. And it's with that emotion of anger which then seems to drive even more momentum when it comes to getting out of that nervous system state. These two different nervous system states which seem to appear to work together when it comes to springboarding us out into a completely new way of thinking and being and viewing and observing the world. And it's this that I'm talking about, is the wisdom of your trauma. There seems to be this backdrop of perfection which is happening here. There is this universal law that there aren't any accidents. There are no accidents going on. So we've got to try as best we can with as minimal resistance as we can to come into this, like, accepting, wow, this is such a big part of the journey. This is where it's at when it comes to being human and navigating this human experience. And when we're going through this healing process, it appears to be this valuable, essential component to being human, is processing through this. But we all have our own tailor-made blueprint of what we have to go through. Through all of this that I've spoke about here, every iota of that journey comes with little micro lessons of development of who you're essentially, who and what you are becoming along the way. That nervous system state which has come from your trauma has obviously shaped a really solid identity of what and who you think you are in this now moment. Your consciousness has been crafted and created from that nervous system state. So when we talk about coming out of that, and we talk about this wisdom and this transformation that occurs, we're talking about developing into a whole new state of being. The power of experiencing contrast. And if I reflect on my journey right now, I've experienced contrast to such a dramatic degree when it comes to these nervous system states that I'm talking about. And the wisdom, the pure learning and the development has come from those shut down, freeze, volatile nervous system states, which were formed and molded from my environment, my situations and circumstances. And when I was just looking out into the world and just saying my environment and my life and the external has just done all this, but there's this inner functioning autonomously unfolding within me. And the deepest wisdom has come from those really volatile nervous system states, which were from and developed and crafted from the trauma that I've been through my life up to this point. And the rebirth moment is when we realize that's not what we want to be anymore. That's not the identity that I want. I no longer want to be identified and my identity to have been shaped by this, but I accept and love and forgive that's where I am now and what I have to go through. But I go into the mindset of knowing that I can change and start to adapt and develop and evolve my nervous system, which is going into that deep sense of safety. We go away from that high alertness, that state of threat, that emotional numbness, which comes from a chronic state of dysregulation. And then we go into developing this conscious communication with our nervous system, which is essentially, if we distill the healing journey down, it is about this development of new communication within. A new sense of profound safety being shaped within ourselves, within you and within me. kudos to us for what we are doing right now in this development, because it takes a real profound, powerful energy of devotion to follow this journey, because it's going to be confronting, it's going to be gnarly, it's going to have lots of things that will hit us on the blind side, what we're not expecting. When our whole identity has been shaped this profoundly by our past and by our trauma, the development of a new identity and a new self-concept is really, really confronting, because we have to face really as clear as day everything that we are now that's come from the shaping of our trauma. And that, my friends, takes a lot of courage, and I applaud you and I hold in reverence of you for the journey and process that you're doing right now, that you're ready and are ready to dive into this process. Whether you've been deep into this for years, maybe you're new to this and this is like the early stages of your development. But listen, start to listen to that wisdom of your trauma. Start to really tune into that voice. It's like it comes with a specific voice that almost whispers to you, talks to you softly, wants you to know that everything's going to be okay, wants you to know that there's a deeper purpose and learning aspect of trauma, which is something that we agreed to prior embodiment. There's a part of us that our soul part of ourselves, the deepest aspect of us, said we are strong enough to go what we are going to go through in this life. We are strong enough for that. And that's really incredible, that that part of ourselves sees us so purely to the point where it says we can cope with this. This is going to be extremely beneficial for our development in shaping and molding us and tearing back those onion layers which are no longer serving us. What an incredible journey. Whew. Taking a breath for you, taking a breath for me, taking a breath for all of us right now, doing our thing. Wherever you are on your journey, my friend, sending you so much love. And I'm going to dive into this is going to be drifted in with a few more videos in the near future and continuation, because it's so important that we get this dialed down for sure if we are to truly start stepping into our highest, to finally let go of those layers. Sometimes repetition creates a familiarity which helps us within our process. Sending you so much love, my friends. I can't wait to see you in the next video.